Breaking: Bernie Sanders becomes the first U.S. senator to publicly declare Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond. Good morning, I'm Remo, and this is the Daily Signal for September 18th, 2025.
Unfiltered. Now.
That bombshell statement is reshaping America's political landscape as we speak. Here are the other top stories for September 18th, 2025. Trump returns to the UN podium September 23rd as Gaza and Ukraine conflicts rage worldwide. Yale researchers expose Russian military training and re-education of Ukrainian children in occupied territories. Gaza City goes completely dark, all communications severed during Israel's expanding ground invasion. Senior Hamas leader makes shocking first public appearance after surviving Israeli airstrike in Qatar. Europe cranks up pressure on Israel while Trump maintains his characteristic silence. Navalny's wife confirms medical tests. Putin's nemesis was definitely poisoned. The EU launches bold new strategy to pull India away from Russia's influence. Denmark announces massive weapons purchase in what officials call a paradigm shift. Ancient Egyptian gold bracelet vanishes from major museum. International manhunt underway. Now let's dive into each story. Senator Bernie Sanders just shattered a political taboo. Yesterday, he became the first sitting U.S. senator to publicly state that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. This isn't just political theater. This is a seismic shift. Sanders' exact words are reverberating through Congress right now. No other senator has dared use the G word when describing Israel's military campaign. The Vermont progressive has effectively drawn a red line that separates him from the entire Democratic establishment. Why this matters? Sanders commands massive influence among young Americans and the progressive base. His statement legitimizes accusations that mainstream politicians have avoided for months. Expect immediate pushback from pro-Israel groups and potential fractures within the Democratic Party. The timing couldn't be more explosive, just 5 days before Trump addresses the UN General Assembly. Speaking of Trump, he's heading back to the United Nations podium September 23rd, and the world is watching. This marks his first UN address since returning to office, and he'll be speaking as two major wars rage simultaneously. The 80th UN General Assembly brings together leaders from 193 countries, all converging on New York while Gaza burns and Ukraine bleeds. Trump's speech will set the tone for American foreign policy on the global stage. Here's what's unprecedented. Trump will address the UN while communications are completely severed in Gaza City. Ukrainian children face Russian indoctrination, and European allies are openly criticizing Israeli actions. The White House confirms Trump will speak directly about these crises. His words could either escalate tensions or attempt to broker peace. But knowing Trump, expect the unexpected. Yale researchers have uncovered something horrifying. Russia is conducting military training and ideological re-education of Ukrainian children in occupied territories. This isn't speculation. This is documented evidence of systematic child militarization. The Yale study reveals Russian authorities are targeting youth specifically to indoctrinate them for future military roles. These children are being transformed into potential future soldiers against their own country. This discovery adds another devastating layer to Russia's war crimes accusations. The international community already condemns targeting civilians, but weaponizing children crosses every moral boundary. Why you need to know this: child militarization violates multiple international laws and represents a long-term strategy to eliminate Ukrainian national identity. These children are being programmed to fight against Ukraine's future. Gaza City has gone completely silent. All communications infrastructure was severed as Israel's ground invasion expanded dramatically overnight. This communication blackout isolates over 400,000 residents from the outside world. The strategic timing is crucial. Cutting communications prevents real-time reporting of military operations and civilian casualties. Journalists, humanitarian workers, and residents cannot coordinate rescue efforts or document events. This blackout coincides with Israel's most intensive ground offensive yet, targeting what they claim are Hamas strongholds throughout Gaza City. But civilians are trapped in the crossfire with no way to call for help. The human impact is staggering. Families separated by the conflict cannot locate each other. Medical facilities cannot coordinate emergency responses, and international observers are operating blind. In a dramatic show of defiance, a senior Hamas official made his first public appearance yesterday after surviving an Israeli airstrike in Qatar. This appearance sends a powerful message. Hamas leadership remains operational despite targeted assassination attempts. The official's survival and public emergence demonstrate Hamas's resilience and continued political influence across the Middle East. His appearance was carefully choreographed to project strength to supporters worldwide. This development complicates Israel's decapitation strategy, the systematic targeting of Hamas leadership. If senior officials can survive strikes and remain active, it suggests Israel's intelligence may be incomplete or Hamas security has improved significantly. The location matters too. Qatar continues providing safe haven for Hamas leadership, despite international pressure. This appearance reinforces Hamas's diplomatic protection in key regional capitals. A massive diplomatic split is emerging between Europe and America. European leaders are intensifying pressure on Israel over Gaza operations, while Trump maintains conspicuous silence. European capitals are demanding immediate ceasefire, investigating potential war crimes, and some are considering arms embargoes. Multiple EU nations are reviewing their Israel relationships entirely. Trump's response? Radio silence. No condemnation, no support, no clear position. This diplomatic void creates uncertainty for allies and enemies alike. This transatlantic divide weakens Western unity precisely when global leadership is most needed. Putin, Xi Jinping, and other authoritarian leaders are watching this split carefully, potentially exploiting divisions between traditional allies. Yulia Navalnaya dropped a bombshell. Medical tests definitively confirm her husband Alexei Navalny was poisoned. This isn't suspicion anymore. This is scientific proof of attempted assassination. The confirmation validates years of investigation and international accusations against Russian state security forces. Navalny's poisoning was deliberate, sophisticated, and state-sponsored. This revelation reignites global attention on Putin's systematic elimination of political opposition. Navalny's case becomes Exhibit A in documenting Russia's assassination program against dissidents. The timing is politically explosive, as Russia wages war in Ukraine while simultaneously conducting domestic terror campaigns against its own citizens. Navalny's poisoning proves Putin's brutality extends far beyond international borders. The European Union is launching an ambitious new strategy to pull India away from Russia's orbit. This isn't just diplomacy, this is geopolitical chess on a global scale. The EU's approach includes expanding trade partnerships, technology cooperation, and diplomatic dialogue specifically designed to reduce India's dependence on Russian energy and weapons. Brussels understands that India's allegiance could determine the balance of global power. India currently maintains strategic neutrality, purchasing discounted Russian oil while accepting Western technology. The EU wants to tip that balance decisively toward the West. Why this matters? India represents 1.4 billion people and the world's fastest-growing major economy. Winning India's alignment could isolate Russia economically and diplomatically for decades. Denmark just announced plans to purchase long-range weapons in what officials are calling a paradigm shift for the traditionally neutral nation. This represents Denmark's complete transformation from peaceful Nordic state to military power. The weapon purchases reflect Denmark's response to Russian aggression and broader European security concerns. Copenhagen is abandoning decades of defensive-only military doctrine. This shift signals that even historically neutral European nations recognize the changed security environment. If Denmark is arming up, every European capital is reassessing its defense posture. The ripple effects extend throughout NATO. Denmark's military upgrade strengthens alliance capabilities while demonstrating unified European resolve against Russian threats. Today's stories reveal three critical global patterns reshaping our world right now. First, political taboos are shattering. Bernie Sanders using the word genocide breaks decades of American political convention. When sitting senators abandon diplomatic language, it signals fundamental shifts in public opinion and policy boundaries. Second, alliance systems are fracturing. The Europe-America divide over Israel, the EU courting India away from Russia, and Denmark's military revolution all demonstrate that traditional partnerships are being tested and reformed under pressure. Third, information is becoming weaponized. Gaza's communication blackout, Russian child indoctrination programs, and confirmation of Navalny's poisoning show how controlling information flow has become central to modern conflict. These aren't separate stories, they're interconnected pieces of a global realignment happening right now. Sanders' genocide statement will influence Trump's UN speech. European pressure on Israel affects American Middle East policy. Denmark's weapons purchases strengthen NATO, while the EU courts India. The world order established after World War II is being rewritten in real time. Today's decisions in Washington, Brussels, Moscow, and Middle East capitals will determine tomorrow's global power structure. That's the Daily Signal for September 18th, 2025. I'm Remo. Subscribe for tomorrow's breaking news. And remember, in times like these, staying informed isn't optional. It's essential.
Unfiltered.